Happy Sunday. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. It's a beautiful day outside, by the way. I'm going to get right into this, not waste too much time. Had a couple of things that I wanted to talk about in terms of NBA free agency, first and foremost, then the Sixers NBA draft, and then finally ending off with last night's fights, championship bouts. So I did a live stream on Facebook on Thursday. Had some technical difficulties. The live feed got cut off a couple times. Again, I apologize for that. And I promised you that in my scripted video today that I would be talking and recapping over those topics that I was touching on. So without further ado, let's hop right back into NBA free agency. And obviously, I'm a 4-for-4 guy, a Philadelphia fan, whether it be the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, or Phillies. So I'm going to start off there and then branch out into the other teams in the NBA. So let's start off with the Sixers offseason and their free agency plans. So you have Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler out there in free agency. The Sixers can either bring them back or let one or both walk. I personally would bring back Jimmy Butler after what he did in the postseason. He played grown man basketball, and he was a leader. He took those young players that needed guidance, like Embiid and especially Ben Simmons, and he was able to really be the leader, the vocal leader on and off the court, on the court and in the locker room. And he showed by example. He went out and he showed up. And that's exactly what we needed, and it's exactly what you need moving forward, because this is our window. I believe the Sixers have a 3 to 4 year window. And when you have Embiid, who's one of the best players in the league, he has to be in the discussion for being in a top 5 player in the East. And then you have Ben Simmons, who hopefully he develops that shot. But even without the shot, he's definitely a top 10 player in the East. I probably put him around 7. Yeah, I probably put him at 7, 8, something like that. You need that leader, and Jimmy Butler is that. He's able to hit those clutch shots. That's why they call him Jimmy Buckets. So hopefully the Sixers can bring him back. They can offer him the most years as well as the most money with the max contract on either a 4 or 5 year deal. There has been speculation out there that Jimmy Butler may have interest in going out west, possibly to team up with LeBron or join the Clippers, which is the dark horse team in this whole free agency race, in my opinion. I'll get to that. But there's also been speculation that the Houston Rockets have interest in Jimmy Butler. Now, how realistic that is, I don't know, because they don't have a lot of cap space, and they also have no way to really clear out the contracts that would be necessary to acquire a player like Jimmy Butler on a max contract. I mean, you would really have to rearrange contracts like with PJ Tucker and Chris Paul and so on and so forth, and I just don't know how to clear out that cap space. So I just think they're posturing and maybe hoping that the Sixers get so scared that they're going to lose Jimmy Butler for nothing that they get scared into making a silly move and facilitating a sign and trade deal with the Rockets for Jimmy Butler. But I don't see that happening. But that's been the storyline behind the Jimmy Butler to the Rockets speculation. Now, in my gut, I feel as though Jimmy Butler comes back, but we'll see. But the two players that I believe really have a chance to shake up this free agency class are obviously Kawhi Leonard and then Kevin Durant, because as Kevin Durant goes, so will free agency go. Because I don't necessarily know if he's going to stay with Golden State, not necessarily because of the injury or anything involving him wanting to be the man in Golden State. I think it might come down to him not trusting that medical staff after getting injured the way he did. Not the fact that he got injured, but how he injured that Achilles after originally having a calf injury. You know, did they put him back in there too soon? Did they push him too fast? Did they put that pressure on him to go out and perform when he really had no business being on the floor? Those are questions that we don't know, but we know that Kevin and that training staff and that coaching staff and the players know. So my gut feeling is that Kevin Durant will probably leave Golden State for that reason, possibly among other reasons, but I definitely feel that reason. And I wouldn't be surprised if he went to the Clippers or joined one of the New York teams, whether it be the Brooklyn Nets or the New York Knicks. Because as Kevin Durant goes, then, other players like Kyrie Irving and Kemba Walker will most likely follow. There could be a scenario where Kevin Durant goes to the Knicks or the Nets, and then Kyrie Irving and Al Horford follow, which would be a very good trio, in my opinion. An even better trio. I mean, this goes out to Chris from Playmakers Radio. If you don't have the app already, download it. Playmakers Radio Live every Tuesday. But Chris is a Nets fan, and I think an even better trio would be Al Horford, Kyrie Irving, and or Kemba Walker, either one of those guys interchangeably. And then either at your forward, either Kawhi Leonard, which would be your first option, or Jimmy Butler. A combination of those three positions with those players, that would be ideal. I'm with him on the Kevin Durant move to Brooklyn maybe not being the best one, because he's going to be out. He's not going to be the same player for at least 1 year, and you want to take advantage of an ever-shrinking window, which is the way sports work. I mean, you have a finite amount of time to win a championship, and this is the year you want to take advantage of, because now Golden State, it's open season out there in the West. They are a hobbled machine right now, between Kevin Durant being down and then Klay Thompson tearing his ACL. Will he be back? Yes, but will he be 100%? No. Will he be 80%? Possibly, but still, they are a hobbled warrior, no pun intended, out there in the West. So you have all these teams. It's open season now, so you're going to see teams like the Clippers, my dark horse in free agency, trying to position themselves to have the best shot at taking a crack at that title by being big players in free agency. And if there's one thing that Jerry Buss is good at, is building championship caliber teams. He was a Hall of Fame player, a Hall of Fame GM with the Lakers, and he's making big things happen out there with the Clippers. And he has them in a position to really go from a good team to a great team, depending on the moves they make in free agency. So he's really done an incredible job. So, my eye is on that, because I would not be surprised if Kawhi Leonard went to the LA Clippers. There has been a lot of talk of him going out there. I wouldn't think that he would want to join up with LeBron. I think he likes being his own guy. He doesn't feel like he needs another star to define him. I mean, he went up to Toronto. He got traded there, but he just did it with Toronto. I mean, there's no stars on that team, no superstars on that team, and he put the squad on his back and took them to a title. Yes, Siakam and some of the role players helped them out, but Kawhi Leonard went Super Saiyan and got it done. So I would not be surprised if Kawhi Leonard, who is from the West Coast and it's been speculated that he wants to go back out there, would end up with the Clippers. So, and then another dark horse team to pay attention to is the Dallas Mavericks. They have Luka Doncic. They have, who else? Oh, man. Porzingis coming off injury, and I think he's going to be healthy. They have pieces, man, and they watch out for them. That's my thoughts on free agency. I don't know where Kawhi Leonard or Kemba Walker are going. If I had to guess, I would think that Kemba has a strong chance to go out to the Lakers to fill that point guard spot that they need if they free up that cap space. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kyrie went to one of the New York teams and possibly linked up with Al Horford and or Kevin Durant. So we'll see what happens there. But that's my thoughts on free agency. Moving on to the NBA draft, and I'm going to stick with the 76ers on this topic. Let's look at their first round draft pick, and I'm not even going to try to say his name because I know I'm going to butcher it, but his first name, Matisse. I'm not even going to try the last name, but let's talk a little bit about this draft pick, because I remember looking at the draft and wondering why the Sixers traded their 24th pick to go up to 20, and I was a little bit confused. And then I saw that they picked this kid from Washington, and he didn't do any private workouts, didn't work out at the combine, and that tells you a lot for no teams to really know where he was at in terms of working him out, and for the Sixers to still not only draft him but trade up 4 spots to get him. The word is that he is the best perimeter defensive player in the draft, and if that's so, that's a huge pickup at pick number 20. Now, the Sixers traded picks number 24 and 33 to the Boston Celtics for the rights to the 20th pick, and that's significant. I think that one of the biggest weaknesses of the Sixers last year, and especially going into the playoff run, was perimeter defense. And we saw that with J.J. Redick being on the floor and being a liability on defense, despite his phenomenal shooting prowess. That defensive liability became an issue, and going deeper into the playoffs and gets these teams, the better they get, the more of an issue it becomes. We saw that right off the rip against the Nets. I mean, we could not stop the dribble drive against any of their guards, whether it be D'Angelo Russell or LeVert. They didn't have an answer. And eventually we adjusted. I get it. We adjusted, and we eventually took that away. But it was a big issue for the first 3 to 4 games. And this is one step towards addressing that, along with Zaire Smith getting out there and showing what he can do. Shot-wise, we'll have to see where he's at. But defensively, he has the length, and he's a very good shot blocker. So I'll be interested to see how the Sixers are defensively on the perimeter at their guard spots and forward spots. I mean, for a guy that I think he averaged 9 points last season at Washington. I'm not sure about that, but if anybody can help him develop his shot, it's definitely Brett Brown. Now, I know everybody's gonna look at me like I got 5 heads and say, well, Ben Simmons never developed a shot, and Brett Brown knew Ben Simmons since he was a kid. Well, everybody's different. I think that Ben Simmons, he's his own guy. He's his own case. You have to look at it on a case-by-case basis. It's really about the want to with the player wanting to get better with the shot, because the flip side to that argument is, well, look at Kawhi Leonard. He just won a title. Guess who was his shooting coach that really helped him on his way to developing his shot down in San Antonio? That would be one Brett Brown. I mean, he has the ability to help these kids develop. So we'll see what happens there. But I like the pick. I'm not ecstatic about it, but I think it was a solid pick that addressed a need. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me get on lastly to boxing. There were 2 championship fights last night at the middleweight division. One being between Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade and Maciej Sulecki for the WBO middleweight championship title. Now, this was a fight that I was looking forward to. Demetrius Andrade, very promising young champion at 160, a former Olympic champion, definitely has that pedigree. He brings a lot in terms of boxing IQ, quick hands, good feet, and he has long reach. And he just it's just something about him. He knows how to control the ring. The ring generalship part of his game is A+. And Selecki, he was the number one contender for the WBO belt. So not only did you face a top 10 contender, top 10 ranked opponent for the belt, it was the number one ranked contender for the WBO belt. And Andrade, he went out there and he just pitched a shutout, which was even more impressive because Selecki, he's not anything super special, but he's not no cupcake. He's not a walk in the park, and he made him look very average. He took a very solid fighter and made him look amateurish, and that says something to me about Andrade. I definitely want to see him get the fights against the next the guy in the fight I'm talking about after this, one of the Charlo brothers. I believe it's Jermall Charlo. Yes, I would love to see him get the fight against Jermall Charlo, or Triple G, or Canelo Alvarez. Any of those three guys at 160, because that's what he came up to 164. There was nothing for him at 154. Everybody was running from him, and so he jumped up to 160, where the fireworks were happening. So hopefully he gets his shot. He's waited long enough. He showed me a lot in his last two fights. He's definitely shown by his performances that to the zone that they've made a very good investment in him. So I really hope that he's able to get a big fight. He's had 3 fights in the past 8 months, which he's active. That is somebody that's active and not just against trash cans. He's out there trying to get consistent fights against top ranked opponents to put himself in the running to get one of these big name fights. So good on him. Moving on to the second fight last night, which was on Premier Boxing Champions on Showtime, between Jermall Charlo and Brandon Adams. Jermall Charlo, he has the WBC World Middleweight Championship belt, native of Houston, and he went out there and won a 12-round decision over Brandon Adams. I didn't see the fight, but I heard that he did his thing, man. He did his thing. It says it was in he outboxed him and he outbrawled him over 12 rounds. So, good on him. I would love to see Charlo matched up with Andrade. That's the next fight I would want to see. There's been so much bad blood between both of the brothers. The one at 154 and the Jermell at 154 and Jermall at 160. There's been a lot of chirping between both of those brothers and Demetrius Andrade. So I would love to see that fight happen first, because they're not going to get there. They're going to get in there. They're not going to be playing no games. They're going to be trying to end it as quickly as possible, and we're going to see a great fight. And somebody's going to be going home with an L. So, that's the fight that I would want to see. I don't know what you guys would be interested in, for those of you that are interested in boxing, but that's one of them. Obviously, looking at the heavyweight division, moving on to there, I would want to see Ruiz get that rematch with Anthony Joshua, and or possibly fight Deontay Wilder. So we'll see what happens on that front. But that's all the news that I had in terms of sports. Yesterday's event for Lawnside Day, moving on to music, it got rained out, unfortunately. But I appreciate everybody that showed support and that was excited for the show. The next show that I'm booked for, I will be sure to let you know. And make sure that you check my website, genmusic856.com, genmusic856.com. I will leave it in the description. Check that out for the latest news in sports and music entertainment on my website. And I think that's it for today. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get back at you as soon as possible. I hope that you guys have a beautiful rest of your Sunday as we get ready to roll into the 4th of July weekend coming up this week. So, as always, I appreciate the support, and peace, love, and blessings. Salute.